we've now reinvented what you call the ultra bottle. Yeah. The packaging and the then of course there are also certain issues that comes with PET, which is the caps. It's easier for us to recover the bottle, isn't it? But how easy is it to actually go after the caps? Most times they remain in the environment, persistently. So now there's also a new technology, and I'm sure most of these OEM pros, so they're already also implementing this in their new machineries, where you have we call a tethered closure. Yeah. When you open your PET bottles, the caps does not detach from it. So which means when you are done with it, it's consistently always with the bottle. Yeah. Now, those are some of the very fantastic technology, and I think there's a mandate that by 2025, all PET bottles will actually transit into this particular technology where the caps are tethered, where the closures are tethered. Yeah. Then of course, participation, ensuring that we engage with the industry to keep driving innovations, to keep driving engagement, and of course, we also ensure that we create the right framework for most of these technology to happen, especially even locally. I think rPET was recently introduced in Nigeria. That was it this year or last year? Financially, the first rPET this year. Interesting. But then for that to happen, there has to be a regulation that supports it, that allows it to happen, isn't it? And that's something that had been in the works for a very long time. That was led by, the industry, FIBRA, 7up, Work, and of course working in collaboration with SON to ensure that that particular regulation is put in place. Because without it, outputs cannot even be introduced in our market. So that's one of the key importance of driving participation. Now we can design, as I said, we can design, we can innovate, but recovery is very key. Collection is very key. Because even in the best of designs, if you don't put systems in place to collect it, to still remain in the environment, creating, nuisance. So we also have some key innovations within this space, driving, filter recycling improvement, advancing mechanical recycling, and even more importantly, chemical recycling. Yeah. As a business, and I think this is not just unique to Coca-Cola actually. Most, should I say, foremost beverage manufacturer, the likes of PepsiCo, the likes of Unilever, Dan1. Yeah. So there's a global commitment to ensure that we reuse our packaging in, outlets, recycled content in our packaging. I think by 2025, for Coca-Cola, by 2025, 35% of our packaging must be from recycled content. So definitely, we are consistently evaluating business cases. How can we push this? Right now, we are about 16%. Yeah, globally. And we also have recently new markets going to 100% carpets across all plastic portfolios. It already happened in Italy, happened in Romania, happened in a couple of countries. Yeah. So for us, recyclability is very key for us to actually, develop new SKUs. It's one key criteria. Then more importantly, not just limiting it to recyclability within the packaging space, but how can we even upcycle? How can we develop technology to ensure that even your PET bottles can be upcycled into even something better? Yeah. So this is where we're also partnering with the likes of Loop Industry, Lonica, and the rest to develop new technologies. All right, I think I've spoken to Sprite labelless packaging, so I won't spend much time on that. But in terms of infrastructure, it's very key, as I said, for collection, to drive it at scale. It's very, very key. I think that's also a new space that is creating a whole lot of economic benefits, even locally for us here in Nigeria. Uh, for Pablo, the deliberate investment within the recycling value chain, driving investment in collection, deliberate investment in the recovery infrastructures. Because at the end of the day, that's how you create sustainable feedstock, access to feedstock for us to ensure that we are able to introduce, recycled materials in our packaging. Currently, we have over 33 community-based recycling centers just within Coca-Cola alone, but then within FIBRA, so much more. Now, what's the future direction? Yeah, we've talked about what we are currently doing, what we are innovating. What's the future direction and what are the potential challenges that we envisage? Now, there are emerging trends when it comes to packaging. We know that there's a lot of pressure on the sustainability of your packaging, the impacts our packaging is actually creating in the environment, be it plastic, can, or what have you. So there's constant need for us to keep being abreast of this trend, of this regulatory landscape, right? For example, in EU, I think was it last week, the new regulation was actually ratified, the PPWR, yeah? The plastic packaging waste regulation was ratified, and it comes with quite a number of interesting clauses that will really drive a lot of responsibility from manufacturers actually. So there are different emerging trends within the packaging space, from the packaging type to regulations and legislations around packaging. But more importantly, when it comes to the plastic issue. Okay. Wow. My system is off. Yeah. Okay, I'm almost rounding up like this. So, but more importantly, yeah, when it comes to plastic packaging, we have to be very, very factual. There's definitely a problem. Yeah, because what is being generated is far, far more than what is being recovered. So that has to be deliberate, and I think that's for us, that's the way forward right now. That has to be deliberate investment in recovery, deliberate investment in infrastructure to ensure we're able to collect, more importantly, collect our source, at that. Yeah. Okay. Then I think my final point, if I actually pass on, my final point was that, sorry? Okay. Yes. Okay. So my final point is this. Today, if there's anything that we need to take out of the, key points, packaging has to be developed with local context in mind. Yeah, for it to be successful, for it to drive the key elements, or for it to connect to the key elements, of successful packaging, it has to be able to connect with the consumer, engage the consumers, right? And it has to be able to help influence responsible choices. Then also, more importantly, as manufacturers, as brand owners, we must also ensure that we drive investment that ensures the reduction, or of course, eliminates some negative impacts of our packaging in the environment. And I think lastly, I would say there's so much that we can do. And I think so much is being done, but there's still so much job to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Idris. We greatly appreciate that learning from Coca-Cola or Nigerian bottling company, which one is easier for us to remember. I think everybody will remember Coca-Cola. Next, we'll have Marco Jola. Coincidentally, today we have two Marco Jola, and he has his second book coming in the room. So we're giving him the opportunity because he has a double, both from the two names. So he will be telling us about food technology, food quality, and safety standards from the Kellogg's company's experience.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bukomi Makanjuala. I pardon him for the pronunciation. Bukomi Makanjuala from Kwara State, Nigeria. I graduated from the University of Ilorin with a first-class honor in BSc Food Science in the year 2021. And I started my professional career as a food safety and food quality analyst in Kellogg's Tolerance Nigeria PLC. I want to appreciate the host for this privilege to stand in front of you today. I don't take it for granted. Thank you very much. Packaging technology is a very, very broad topic. If you want to go all along, we can go the whole day to talk about packaging technology. But basically, I wouldn't want to dwell on what other speakers have said. I'll just try to introduce a little bit about packaging and talk about how it concerns food quality and safety standard requirements. Yeah. So my presentation will be guided by this outline. I'll talk about a little bit of packaging, importance of packaging technology, types of packaging technology, challenges and opportunities in packaging technology, and the food safety and quality requirement as regards to packaging technology. I would like to first give us like an instance why packaging is very, very important. No matter how quality or how safe your food is, if it's not well packed or presented, it will not sell. I don't know if any one of us will buy a bread in a black nylon. If it is not catchy or appealing, you would not buy. So that is one of the reasons why packaging is very, very important. Close Divine Packaging Technology has coordinated system of preparing food for transportation, distribution, storage, retailing, and end use at optimal cost. That means packaging technology cut across all the stakeholders in the manufacturing industry. When we talk about the CPOC graph, when I say the CPOC graph, we talk about the supplier, and when you get whatever you are being supplied, the input, then the production, the output, and your final consumer. Everyone is involved when you talk about when we are dealing with packaging technology. And basically, we have three categories of packaging materials. We have the primary packaging material, the secondary packaging material, and the tertiary packaging material. Primary packaging materials are the ones that we are used to day in, day out, the ones that come in contact with the food. Then the secondary packaging material are those ones that actually contain two or more primary packaging materials. Like example of a berry pack drink pack that has a 12 bottle of beverages inside of it. Then the tertiary packaging material, which are basically used for shipment purposes. And a very good example of that is a corrugated box. So why do we need to always improve on packaging? Why do we need to always improve on packaging? Number one is to improve on presentability. Appeal is very, very important. No matter how we have seen a bad product selling well, and we have also seen a very good product not selling well because of the packaging. Because of the packaging. If you actually put in effort to produce something very good, because I know that in the room we have some SMEs and we have some manufacturers, it is very good to develop a good packaging material because it will always stand out on the shelf. And before the consumer will actually purchase it, it must be attractive. So that is why presentability is very, very important. Another reason why packaging technology should always be improving or developing is presentability, preservation. Preservation. We don't want to produce a good food and now fail when it comes to the shelf life. A good packaging material should create a barrier from the environment, from preventing the food from getting spoiled. It should prevent a barrier from moisture. It should create a barrier from oxygen to prevent oxidative reaction that can shorten the shelf life of the food. Another very key point of packaging material, why it is very important, is in communication purpose. Communication purpose. Packaging materials they are the mediators between the manufacturers and the consumer, because some consumer doesn't even know who is producing a particular product. Like using myself as an example, like I think it was last year that I got to know that golden oil is actually being produced by Nestle Nigeria Limited, and I've been eating the golden oil for a very long time. So packaging material is like the mediator between. It has the nutritional information. It has how to use the products. You see how to use the products. Hard milk in so percentage, water to this degree, and how will you even discard the packaging material? It is written on the packaging material. And another thing is customer care line. You will see it on the packaging material. Another very important thing is the best before date, to be sure that you are buying something that has not expired. So packaging, the usefulness and importance of packaging material cannot be overemphasized. So that's why we have to always improve. Another thing is the utility. As the former speaker said, he said we are always on the go. We are always on the go, especially Lagos, Nigeria. You wake up by 5 o'clock, you must get to work by around 8, 7 o'clock. So you can't be staying at home and making breakfast. So you have to get something and eat. So that is why it is very, very important to develop on packaging material. So basically, these are the two major types of packaging material. We have the rigid and the flexible. Rigid is in the sense that they are more durable, they have more mass, they have more mechanical strength. They have more mechanical strength. And flexible, we have those materials that are very, very lightweighted. They are stretchable. They are easily printed upon. You can read like paperboard now. You can easily print on it, but it's not very easy to print on metallic packaging material. So I wouldn't want to be picking them one after the other and be explaining, because former speakers have already said one or two things about them. So this figure 4 displays the major challenges when it comes to developing or working on packaging material, or how do we make choice of packaging material. The number one challenge is choice of packaging material. Choice of packaging material. After manufacturing a very good product, users are very concerned about how I now select a very suitable packaging material that will help me to sell my product well, and at the same time keep my product very, very well. So sometimes, and this is what leads us to innovation. Innovation, in the sense that you cannot just rest after producing a very good food. You must always strive to see what is going on in the marketplace, because especially in the Nigerian market, it's very, very dynamic, very, very dynamic. When we check like the early 2000, 2001, we see that it's only Coca-Cola that is having the market. But before you know it, you're having Lacasera, bottling company, you're having Biggie, and all of them. They are just competing to just make sure that. So a manufacturer cannot rest. You have to always develop. Another very important problem or challenge issue in the packaging technology industry is cost. You cannot produce a food of 5 naira worth of quality and be packing in a 20 naira or 25 naira packaging material, because you are trying to satisfy the consumer at the same time as the manufacturer. You have to maximize profit. So it's a very, very challenging thing. Another thing is consumer preference. Consumer preference. The other speaker spoke about the consumer preference, but in this sense, I would like to talk about it in what is about it, using what is happening in Nigeria currently as an example. You know, there are in the manufacturing industry, we have different SKUs for different prices. That is talking about containment. Different SKUs for different prices. So now, because of the economic situation of the country, many consumers are now beginning to go for smaller SKUs and neglecting the bigger SKU because of cost. So manufacturers will always try to meet up with consumer preference and make sure that they are making profit. So another challenge is nature of packaging material. Nature of packaging material. If you are saying that this food will last 6 months, I should not take it to Kano and spending 3 months because of the environment there. Or I should take it to Calabar and spending 9 months there. And in this place, you spend like 6 months before you get to the best before date. So a very good packaging material should be able to averagely maintain the quality and freshness of the food as at when the consumer will be consuming the food. So the nature of packaging material is very, 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 very important to put in mind when making the choice of packaging material. So now, how do we now get the best out of packaging materials? How do we optimize packaging materials? How do we make sure that we are giving the consumers? I know we are manufacturers and some of us we are still consumers. So how do we get the best out of packaging material? Number one is right sizing. Right sizing, when I say right sizing, I mean that you cannot be packing a product of 20 grams in a very large packaging material. It will just be like a waste of resources. So Another very important thing is low weight material. Manufacturers should try to encourage the use of low weight material that can easily be sourced locally and used for the purpose of. And another point is to use material that are eco-friendly. We cannot overemphasize this. The first two speakers have spoken well about this, being eco-friendly, recyclable, and biodegradable. Another very important point is reusable packaging material, usable packaging materials. So he spoke well about it, and I really enjoyed the section that we should manufacturers should try to retrieve all food or all packaging material being used for selling and reuse it again. So another point is package design. Design packaging effectively to minimize material usage while still providing sufficient protection. It should not just be fine. Is it durable? Is it good enough to stand the test of time? So another point is to streamline packaging processes to reduce excessive material material usage and transportation costs. So I would also like to dwell on this point. Cooperate with suppliers to find innovative solutions. Cooperate with suppliers to find innovative solutions. Now, before you even approve of a particular packaging material supplier to bring you packaging material for the purpose of packing in your company, you have to first go there, give them the design that you desire, and make sure that they meet your requirement of the requirement of what you desire, and also the requirement of standard of certification bodies. So it is very, very important. You must work in hand in hand. Are they doing what they say they are doing? Are they giving the 100% the promise that they are giving? Is the packaging material of good quality? Apart from quality, is it of good food safety? Is it food grade? That is, can it be used to pack food? So all of these things must always be put in mind. And the last point is data analysis. Data, you can see from the former speakers, so percentage of this, a particular number of these can be recyclable. All of these things are what manufacturer need to expose yourself to. You need to get information from all stakeholders to know where particularly the world is going or where you need to improve on. So these are the ways you can optimize or get the best out of packaging materials. Now, how do we now get the best part of packaging technology? Packaging technology, there's packaging material, and now there's another thing, packaging technology. So packaging, we can see nowadays now that the use of automated packaging machine has now been encouraged. The use of RoboPack, VarioPack machine that the speed is very, very fast. You can't compare it with rudimentary technologies or manual packaging technology. It's very fast, consistent, and it will even help you to streamline to reduce labor costs. And you can always be consistent that whatever you get in the morning is what you get in the afternoon of the same machine. The only thing you need to be doing is cleaning and maintaining the machine. So another thing is to encourage the use of smart packaging technologies. The use of QR code, barcode. I believe that we know the difference between barcode and QR code. QR code is horizontally and vertically captured and can give more information, while the barcode is just only horizontally and cannot give as much information as what the QR code. When I mean QR code, I mean quick response code. And all this QR code is very good in the sense that most packaging most food company now, they now put it on their pouches. So when you get a particular pouch, there are counterfeit products. It's just like for authentication purpose. So when you scan the QR code, you see all the information on the of the user of that particular food. So another thing is 3D printing. 3D printing is a very good development in the packaging industry. Another point is the nanomaterials. Nanomaterials for packaging. Nanomaterials are materials that has their dimension between 1 to 100 nanometer. They are very, very small particles, and they are encouraged, and their strength lies in the strength, their strength lies in the fact that they have a very wide surface area to volume ratio, and they have been used and they have been composited with different materials like plastic to improve the antibacterial or antioxidant property and antibacterial properties of that particular packaging material. They have been used to composite so many packaging materials. Example is nano silver, nano zinc oxide, and many of them. So they are very, very good, and the use of nanomaterials should be encouraged in packaging technology. This biodegradable and renewable, I cannot overemphasize is that another thing is active packaging. Active packaging, use of oxygen scavengers, modified atmosphere packaging, modified humidity packaging to ensure that especially fruits and vegetables get to their consumer in a fresh and good way. So collaboration and innovation, you must collaborate with your consumer to hear feedback from them, collaborate with the suppliers on what they should improve on to always keep improving, because I must tell you that no company has arrived. You must always keep improving. So now, bringing my experience in food quality and food safety into packaging technology. There's no how you want to achieve. There's no how you want to achieve food safety or food quality without talking about GMP. GMP is doing what you should, how you should, when you should, doing the right thing in the facility, doing the right thing in the facility. So figure 5 shows the basic parameters of GMP that we use in my organization, Kellogg's Tolerant Nigeria Limited. So G6 is golden gemba. Gemba is a Japanese word which means going to the source or actual place of where something really, where an incident really occurred. Like not relying on the information you are being fed with. Go there, see what is happening on the facility, see what is happening in the with your personnel, see what is happening in the facility. So, and GMP is the bedrock of all food manufacturing industry. We can be talking about how good or important packaging is, but if the packaging material is not safe, the purpose of production has already been jeopardized. So I'll be talking about GMP under these 6 parameters: pest control, water control, overhead food stream, COBE. COBE means condition of building and equipment. Condition of building and equipment. Then employee practice. Employee practice is the most important aspect of GMP. Why is it very important? It controls every other aspect of GMP. So the last one is sanitation and housekeeping. Sanitation and housekeeping works hand in hand with pest control. When I say they work or they are connected, I mean if you don't clean your facility well, if you don't clean the packaging machine well, if you don't clean the floor well, pests will always find their way into your facility, and you have to be running scatter. That's why a GMP is very, very important. Make A when the sun shines, so that you won't have to be running scatter when things get out of hand. So if the facility is being cleaned and taken care of well, there will not be food debris or dust or anything that will invite pests that will come and invest your facility. So pest control, when we talk about pest control, is like creating barrier to pests in your facility. And we have the use of blue board, the fumigation using chemicals for flying insects and many other things that can actually cause harm in the facility. Another thing is water control. Water control. You must the facility must be built in a way that all the waters that is being drained from the facility should go to the water treatment plant and be well treated. Should be well treated. There should not be drain backup or water logging that can cause growth of microorganisms that will now eventually affect the quality of whatever one is producing in the facility. So another point is overhead food stream. This is common for open line production of food. When you have a closed system now, there's no overhead food stream. But when you have open system, when I mean open system, like you're manufacturing bread, you are manufacturing sausage, snacks, and all of that, it is produced in a very open system because of the heat that is used in baking, toasting, drying, and all of that. So we have overhead food stream, and this is the zone 2. The zone 1 is where the food passes. Then zone 2 is the overhead food stream or anything that is close to the food line. So it should be well taken care of. If there is a leakage or there's those particles, it can easily be transferred into the food, and even with your good packaging material, if everything of this thing that I'm saying is not well taken care of, you will still feel the final consumer. So I spoke about the sanitation and housekeeping the other time. So now condition of building and equipment. Condition of building is very, very important. We should all make it our goal in the facility or in the manufacturing industry to escalate issues. When you see a broken wall, you should snap and send it to the man. Let them know that this is what is happening here. It's not that when it is now becoming a very long crack that want to break the wall, that you now report. Or when there is a leakage of oil on a particular machine to your food line, take picture and raise alarm immediately before you get out of control, and the grease will now follow the food, and this is a very big food safety issue. So condition of building and equipment is very, very important. You see a leaking roof, work on it immediately. Don't let it pile up. So this is how to improve on GMP. And the last but not least is employee practices. Employee practices is very, very important. Why is it important? It controls every other point. And human being, we are the most, will I say stubborn now, or the most very, very hard to control. When we talk about GMP, shave your beards, to work in a very safe environment, wash your hand, personal hygiene, cut your nails, all of those things, people will not listen. Okay, when you want to discard food waste and laminate waste, put laminate waste here, put food waste here, people will not still listen. So it is very, very difficult to control people, to tell people what to do and how to do it. So, and another thing is this and personnel like your employees are the one that will control every other point on the GMP. They control the pest control, they work on the pest control, water control. So if this should fail, every other aspect of GMP has failed. So how do we now improve on employee practice? By continuous training of your employee. So these figure 6 show examples of hygienically designed packaging machines. When I say hygienically designed, machines that are very cleanable, that you can easily maintain, you can work on the machine. They don't, there's no friction between the packaging material and the packaging machine. There's a free flow of whatever you are packing. So A is a Veripack machine. B is a RoboPack machine for palletizing, and this is B and C is a typical laminate packer, like a primary packaging machine, as I explained earlier. And this is a carton palletizer. All of this you can see, you can easily clean, you can easily disinfect, you can easily maintain or do whatever you want to do on the machines. This is how a good packaging machine should be designed. So now, I want to talk about the requirements of the standard. Requirement of the standard. Basically, we have so many regulatory bodies that used to give standard as to what is expected of manufacturers. But I'll be talking about BRCGS because of their globally accepted by GFSI, Global Food Safety Initiative. And Global Food Safety Initiative sets standard for safety in food facility, cutting across every aspect of the food production line. So another standard is just like a summary of the two of them is the ISO 9000. I know many of us know ISO 9000 that audits quality management system, and ISO 22000 that audits food science management, food safety management system. So BRCGS, formerly known as BRC, British Retail Consortium, now known as brand reputation, brand reputation compliance global standard. So they are accepted and approved by GFSI to set standard for food manufacturers. So if you check these two standards, ISO and BRCGS, they have all of this in common. For you to be certified, or for you to produce a very good or a very safe food, even considering the quality of the packaging material and the purity of the packaging material, you must meet all of these requirements. So number one is senior management commitment. Senior management commitment. Your management team must be involved in whatever you are doing. They are the one to meet individuals. They are the one to pass the information around. Your employees must know about the food safety policy. They must be aware of the food quality policy and all of that. So another thing is hazard and risk management. The packaging material you are bringing in for usage, is it safe? Is it safe? Does it pose a risk of physical hazard, chemical hazard, or biological hazard? And if it does, how do you work on this to produce a very safe food? So another thing is risk management. I'll just cite an example on this risk management. Like in a packaging and process area, they are very, very high risk area. Why? Because anything that happens to the food, there it goes directly to the final consumer. It goes directly to the. So an example of that is you should not allow air to flow from the finished good area, that's the warehouse, from finished good area. Air should not be flowing backward to packaging area or the process area. Air should flow. There's something called air flow in the food facility, airflow. So the air quality, good quality air is usually around the process area and packaging area. So it should flow like that. Air should not flow from raw material area and now flow into the process area. It's not good. And another thing is hygiene barrier. Hygiene barrier. So from one zone to another, as people are moving, they should always wash their hand and wash their feet, so that they won't be a major carrier of microorganisms and cause food hazard in the facility. Another thing is supplier approval and monitoring. You must inspect whatever the supplier is bringing. You must monitor what they are doing. Go to the supplier's facility of your packaging material. Let them know that you are quality and food safety concerned. I know some organizations that they will not even give you contract to supply them some materials if you are not certified, ISO certified. So, and if you are not a BRC certified. So all of these things is very, very important. And there are some important documents that you need to request when they are bringing your packaging material. The COA is there. Then the food grade certificate is also there. Certify that this particular packaging material can be used to produce to pack food. So documentation and record keeping, very, very important. Documentation and record keeping, very, very important for traceability and product record purpose. From the point of packaging material collection throughout to the end user, you must document your batch number. Everything must be documented for traceability purpose, because there might be customer complaint and you have the trying to fix it. What if what caused the product that caused customer complaint is not actually your product or is a counterfeited product? So you have batch number, everything in line intact so that you're able to trace such product. Another thing is product safety and quality management. You must always improve on this. Product quality and safety management. I've explained this earlier. Another thing is site standard and hygiene practices, GMP. I spoke extensively on this. Packaging material storage and handling, very, very important. The packaging manufacturer will tell you store under this social condition. This is how to don't stack on each other. All of these guidelines should be followed to get the best out of packaging material. And training and competency. Those that are going to use the packaging material should be trained on how to handle and store such packaging materials. Another thing is continuous improvement. Continuous improvement has said things concerning innovation and continuous improvement. You must keep improving to get to produce an ideal packaging. What is an ideal packaging? An ideal packaging material is one that is non-toxic, that has high visibility of products, even if it is not visible. We have seen some products like that are not transparent. You cannot actually see what is inside the packaging material, but you will see the picture of what you are buying on the packaging material. So it must be visible, at least to some extent. It must be appealing. It must be appealing. It should create a barrier against moisture and gases, and it should perform excellently well in different geographical locations. The way it should perform here, no matter the temperature, it should be comparably open to another geographical location. Another thing is low cost and availability. You should be able to source it locally. You shouldn't be shipping from abroad. You shouldn't be shipping from abroad like 6 months before you get what you are ordering. So another thing is easy machine handling and stable friction coefficient. Be able to work on it. It should not be stopped. The machine when you're packing, the machine should not be stopping every now and then because of the strength or the nature of your packaging material. Another thing is the feature of the closure, the sealing strength. It should have a very good sealing strength. If you open, you should be able to seal back. It should not be pouring. All of those things should be considered. And another thing is adequate mechanical strength during distribution. The way some people handle products is very, very bad. But no matter how bad they handle your product, it should still perform well, especially before when it gets to the final consumer. And capacity to incorporate appropriately there. No matter how fine it is, it should be able to carry information to the final consumer. So, and resistance to migration or leaching from the packaging. This is one peculiar disadvantage of use of metal to pack food. The only metallic packaging that actually beats this disadvantage is the aluminum, and that's why it has been encouraged. The use of aluminum has been really encouraged. So, but some other packaging material also leach chemicals from itself into the food matrix, and which is not safe for consumption. So it should create a defense against loss. As you create a defense, like if you are buying a product with chocolate flavor, you should still have that chocolate flavor when you're eventually taking it. So another thing is you should regulate the transfer of necessary or unnecessary gases. You should regulate the transfer of necessary or unnecessary. You should not buy a pouch of biscuit and you should be eating it and feeling the taste of soap because that particular packaging material has been placed where soap has been placed. So you should create a barrier to picking up odors from the surroundings. So generally, if we strive to eat what is good and drink what is good, we will see that we will eventually not have the reasons to go to hospitals. Only we will go during, maybe you want to go and do medical checkup. If you eat well and drink well responsibly, you will not have any reason to be sick, because majority of the diseases that are outside now, if it's not hereditary, they are caused by food and what we drink. So that is just what I want us to take home. Another thing is, as food manufacturer, we should only try to make food safety our priority, because if it is not safe, it is not food. And if it is not food, then it is slow poison. So, and to our consumers in the house, I would like us to encourage a proper disposal of waste to create a safe environment. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Masterclass.
Thank you so much. We will have to now call on Dr. Solomon Makojola. He's been here since morning, and we are sorry for the delay because of the time we took during the opening ceremony, but you will all agree with me that the presentation so far, it's worth the time being here. For myself, there are some of the things I'm hearing today that are still new. This is what they call innovation. Each day you meet new people, you learn new things. So we'll call Dr. Solomon Makojola. He's a grandfather in this business now. We started many years ago, so I give him the floor.
Yeah, I'll make it brief because I know we are very time constrained.
Your slide, is it?
Yes, it is. So to speak on global trends in paper and plastics packaging, fundamentals of packaging materials, and the focus is to be on paper and plastics. Look at the next slide. Okay, this just shows that packaging is evolving over the years. 6,000 BC, we had clay, and then with time, we had glass, we had wood, paper, metal, and the most recent one, it's the plastic. Things. So what has driven these changes, I will not dwell on that because people have mentioned things around that during their presentation. I would, okay. So drivers, there are some change drivers that has made us to see these different packaging materials come into place. For example, urbanization has driven, I'll just run through them and focus directly on paper and plastics. Urbanization, we have the issue of public health, we have the issue of food security, we have the issue of competition, and then one of the hot topics today has to do with the environmental sustainability. So I go straight into paper and paperboard. Is there anyone who wants to make a try here? What's paper made from? Hello? Wood from trees. Okay. So the second question, good one. What's the difference between a paper and a paperboard?
Paperboard is actually thicker than paper.
Yes. Paperboard is thicker, and so when you look at it according to ISO standard, a paperboard weighs more than 250 grams per square meter. That's 250 GSM. So that's what differentiates a a paper from a paperboard. And we could see that a paper has a lot of application. For example, making paper bags, to making cartons, to making sachets, because some organizations of recent have started making, paper sachets. I mean, rather than using the normal aluminum foil-based sachet. So we look at paper manufacture. So like we mentioned earlier, paper is manufactured from wood. It can be hardwood, it can be softwood. The process of it's about bringing out the pulp from the wood, and that's the cellulose portion of the wood is what we use in making paper. And there are different ways by which we can get the pulp. It could either be by mechanical pulping or the chemical pulping. So in terms of the mechanical pulping, what happens is that you have a part of the lignin is still also, a good amount of the lignin is not removed. So it's still part of the cellulose. So which creates a difference in the paper properties. And then you have what you call the chemical process. That's why you use the sulfates. With the chemical process, the yield is low, but you get high quality cellulose, which affects the quality of the paper. And so what you get from the pulping is what we call the furnish. And then the furnish goes through, these other processes, the moisture is being reduced, the paper moves on a machine and is arranged along a grain, which is called the machine direction. And then it is pressed, and as it's going, you can also size the paper. It can go through a drying process. It goes through the drying process. The paper can be coated. It can be coated to modify the property of the paper, and then you have a finished rail. In the next slide, we'll be looking at some of the things that will take place during paper manufacture. One of them is the bleaching. When the paper is made from wood, and when it comes out, you have it in brown colors. The brown colors could vary depending on the type of wood and the process. And therefore, if I want to make it white, I pass it through a bleaching process. So using hydrogen peroxide, and then I have a white paper. In terms of environmental concern, people will prefer brown than white because of that chemical treatment. We also have what we call the sizing agent. For the sizing agent, it's very useful, especially during paper printing. You want to control the rate of water and ink absorption. And one of the compounds used are what we call the rosenes. Also, in the process of paper processing, you can use starches or gums, especially these days whereby most papers are processed from recycled papers. One of the ways to increase the strength is the use of starches and gums. It helps to improve the stiffness. Then we have optical brightness, like we also use in detergents. We also use optical brightness in the manufacture of paper, sometimes like clay, like titanium dioxide. So it gives it that very, very bright feel. Another modification you can do when you manufacture paper has to do with the resistance to moisture. For example, what we call the wet strength paper. For the wet strength paper, what we use is that you use formaldehyde and melamine, which are kind of thermosets. And then, when they cross-link, it gives that paper a kind of strength. So, for example, if I want to make a paper label for a tin lid that I will put in the fridge, I can request for a wet strength paper because I know it will not disintegrate easily when it's in the fridge. Also, apart from having different additives, there are also different things we could do to paper, to modify its physical appearance. And one of them is what we call calendering. That is passing it through heavy rollers. When it comes out, the paper comes out very smooth. So that's calendering. And then we have we call the machine glazing. you pass other heavy metals using heat so that the paper comes out shiny and glossy. So those are the different things you could do to modify the properties of paper. And another thing you can do is you can do metallizing. You can metallize the paper by using aluminum deposit on top of aluminum deposit on top of the paper. So it gives the paper a kind of a shiny feel. Metallizing also it's also can also help to improve the barrier property of the paper by the time you put some aluminum deposit on the paper. These are some of the paper properties that one can look at. For example, one of them is the grammage, that's a gram per meter square. So one thing about the grammage is this: provided all other parameters are held the same, it means that the higher the grammage, the higher the compression strength of that particular paper. So, but because today we have different type of papers, you have the craft, you have the test, you have the test liners. So if a craft liner and a test liner have the same grammage, you won't expect the same compression strength. So that's why I said if all parameters are held same, then the higher the grammage, the higher the compression strength of that paper. So you also have the thickness, which will be measured in micrometers or in micron. And like I've also mentioned, if all parameters are held constant, the thicker the paper, the thicker the compression strength of that paper. And then we talk about stiffness also. That's one of the reasons why paper is applied in the packaging world, because of its stiffness. So it's resistance to bend. So, and this it differs when it comes in the machine direction and the cross direction. Usually a paper is expected to be stiffer along the cross direction when compared to the machine direction. When you look at the machine direction, you see that it's easy to tear along the machine direction and it's easy to fold along the machine direction. And so sometimes when you are building a paper that you want rigidity, then you want a paper with better stiffness. And therefore, when you look at paper boards, there are ways you build paper boards so that you can build in stiffness into it. Usually, pulps produced from mechanical recycling has this high level of stiffness, but they are not. But in terms of compression strength, they are not as strong. But when you look at that of pulps from the chemical pulping, they have high tensile strength. They give overall high compression strength. So when you are building a paperboard, sometimes there are ways you mix them together in order to transfer different properties onto the paperboard. Another thing about paper is the cup value. That is the amount of water that is absorbed by that paper. Sometimes, we have cup 60, cup 120, cup 180. So it differs for different papers, and that is why for some, when you go to the paper converter, there are some paper they can leave outside because they won't absorb moisture like that, and there's some paper they will not leave outside because it rapidly absorbs moisture. It's not ability of the paper to absorb moisture is not necessarily a disadvantage. Because sometimes you need that property also. That's the property of paper to absorb moisture. It's one of the things you use in your filter paper. It's one of those things you use in your filter paper so that the tea is able to come out. So it has advantages in both ways. And then another thing you look at, another property of paper is what we call it, the hygroscopicity and the hygroexpansivity of the paper. So paper, in its nature, it absorbs moisture. So it absorbs moisture and it expands. And that's why when you want to use paper in building laminate structures, also, you try and protect the paper with a particular layer of polymer so as to reduce this issue of hygroscopicity and hygroexpansivity. And then the other thing has to do with brightness. Like I said, you can modify papers and therefore improve the brightness of that paper. So actually, when you want to measure brightness, is a measure of the total, it's a measure of light reflectance. So the higher the reflectance, the higher the brightness of the paper. Okay, so just to bring it up a bit, it's just to show how the machine direction and cross direction could affect the tensile strength of a paper. So look, if you look at this, if you look at paper one, you know, it's a tensile strength I told a team member to measure for me. And then paper two, different dimensions, and then he came up with this tensile strength 4, 5. Immediately I saw the result, I said something must be wrong with this measurement. And then I told her, I said, what I'm seeing here is that you have measured along the wrong direction. So I said, reverse the direction. And then when the direction was reversed, so you could see from 4, you are seeing 13, 12. You could see how a change in direction. The same paper that was having this value, when the direction was changed, you could see it was having 13, 12, 16, 10, 11. That shows you how a change in direction could affect the strength properties of papers. And therefore, in interpretation of results, it's always very good to also check what grain direction, you know, am I measuring, so as to avoid misinterpretation of results. Now, like I said, I will be brief. So we go to plastics. Just have to focus on paper and plastics. Because this is more of an introductory class, so I'm not going into deep details about these materials. But like we saw from the presentation from Kishan, we've observed that paper and plastics are, you know, the most used materials in the world. From what is showed from South Africa, about 80% of packaging materials are, in terms of revenue, are plastics and paper. And when it comes to tonnage, about 60 to 70% is what? Plastics and paper. Now, just a quick question again. How many types of plastics do we have? Anybody wants to go for it?
We have hard plastics and hard plastics and flexible plastics. I would say that because the flexible ones are the low density polyethylene and the lightweighted ones. And polyethylene terephthalate are the rigid plastics.
That is a good attempt, but it's a good attempt. But you know that polyethylene can both be rigid and be flexible, cannot be flexible. Even the same for LDPE. LDPE can be flexible and be rigid. If you look at snap fix that they use on cars, it's made from LDPE. Because of its ability to elongate, so that's a property they use, you know, in making it in using it for some of this snap fit closure on lids. Any other person? Yeah, right. Okay. I would say generally people will say there are two types of plastics. They will say thermoplastics and thermosets. But you now begin to look at different names of plastics. I would say there are hundreds of plastics, because plastic is the youngest packaging material we have, and every day it keeps new plastics keep on coming up, keep on coming up. Names of plastics, names of plastics that we know. Okay, we've measured LDP, we've mentioned PET. Any other trial? Plastics?
PP, HDP,
HDP, correct.
PVC.
Yeah, we have PVC. Yeah, good. So, what are plastics? In general term, plastics means something. Plastic means something that can be molded. And Generally, people call it plastics, but the packaging technologist to a polymer scientist will refer to the raw material as what we call a polymer, while the finished product will be referred to as plastics. But it's used interchangeably. And usually plastics comes as a result of polymerization reactions, as we will see in the next slide. Now, we have a monomer and then we have a polymer. And so when repeating units of monomeric, when monomeric units come together, we have what we call polymers. And these things, they exist, we have polymers that also, these polymers exist in nature. For example, if we live here and then we go to our proteins, for example, we have the amino acids and then coming together to form what? The proteins. So same also in plastics. So we have, for example, when we say polyethylene, the monomeric unit for polyethylene is the ethylene. And therefore, when units of ethylene begin to add onto each other, we have what we call the polyethylene. Also, we have the vinyl chloride. You can see just a change. We could see that just a change in the hydrogen atom, in one hydrogen atom, a change would completely change the property of that plastic. And therefore, for vinyl chloride, that repeating unit, when it's polymerized, we have what we call the polyvinyl chloride. And then we have the vinylidene chloride. So, for example, when you remove one more hydrogen from vinyl chloride and you add another chlorine, you have what we call the polyvinylidene chloride. And it is surprising, how the property of the material changes by just doing by using between one atom of chlorine and two atoms of chlorine. For example, when you look at the vinyl chloride, when you get your PVC, PVCs are not good barriers to gases. They are not good barriers to gases. But when you look at polyvinylidene chloride, they are very good barrier to gases, good barrier to moisture, good barriers to aroma. And that's why you see its application in a lot of meat packaging, and then when you require high performance plastics, so you will see that we use a lot of polyvinylidene chloride just because of a change in one chlorine atom. So the monomeric units that are coming together are very important in determining the nature of that plastics. And then we have another one here, that's what the polypropylene. So with that one, we could see the 3 carbon atoms there. And then by the time it comes together, we have what we call our polypropylene. And in the packaging industry, I would say the workhorse are the polyethylene and the polypropylene. They are the workhorse there. And also the latest amongst them, which is the polyethylene terephthalate that we call our PETs. Now, when we talk about plastic manufacture, like the speaker before me mentioned, we talked about the rigid plastics and the flexible plastics. When we talk about rigid plastics, what we do is that we will say plastics can be molded. So the rigid plastics is about molding, and therefore we are going to develop a rigid plastic. We always talk about mold. And we have varieties of molding methods that we use for rigid plastics. The most popular are the extrusion blow molding and then the injection molding. But because of the advent of polyethylene terephthalate, so we also have the injection stretch blow molding, which is used for PET. And the extrusion blow molding usually can use for large containers. You can use for containers that don't need that level of accuracy, and then you could see it goes into the upper. It goes into the hopper. When the hopper, is extruded, you have a parisine. the paraffin comes out, is extruded, the paraffin goes into the mold. Here it's fed into the mold, it's blown, and then it's cooled down. You cut away you cut away the extra plastics, and then you trim the top, and then you have your plastic. We also have the injection mold. In injection mold, a plastic, is injected into a small cavity, and then it's pressed, it's pressed, and then into the mold. The shape is formed, is cooled, and it comes out. So injection molding we do that for products that actually need higher level of accuracy or dimensional stability. So that's why you find that injection molding is used a lot in the manufacture of closures. Used in manufacture of closures because you need that high level of accuracy. So those are the top two, but also we have the one we use for the PET, that's the injection stretch blow molding. The injection stretch blow molding, it kind of gives an orientation to the PET preform, making it more rigid and stronger. It gives a kind of orientation. So plastics, like we said, they are molded, and these are some of the methods used in molding the plastics. Then we'll see what about flexibles. Flexibles also, the two major ones is what we call this one, that's the blown film extrusion, and then we have the cast film extrusion. In terms of, for the cast film extrusion, it goes through the extruder, the molten polymer comes out, and it comes out like, it flows like a sheet. It flows like a sheet, it falls on a roller that is cooled, and then as it's cooled, it keeps on going until it gets to a winder. So that's the simple principle for cast extrusion. And then we have the blown film extrusion, whereby the film is blown, it's blown into a film. I could see the extruder is blown into a film. And as it's blown, it's decided to have some cooling here. So it goes straight, meters high, and then it goes into a nip roller, and then it comes out. But the funny thing is, if I extrude the same polymer in an extrusion blown film, and I extrude the same polymer using a cast film process, it gives me different properties. It gives different properties, and that's why when we specify when we do plastic specification, we want to specify the kind of materials also. Because if I say polypropylene, sometimes it's generic, and we want to say, okay, what I want is a BOPP, what I want is a cast polypropylene, because, for example, if I put a polypropylene polymer through a cast extrusion, what happens is that it will appear clearer compared to using the extrusion blown film. Why? Because it is subjected to rapid cooling. So there is no, what we call in polymer chemistry, there is no high level of crystallization, and therefore we have a clearer material. However, the extrusion process, the extrusion blown film, there is no rapid cooling like we have here, and so there's some level of crystallization, and then the film will not be as clear as a CPP. But another thing also about the extrusion blown film, there is a bit of orientation, when the film is being blown, and therefore film from extrusion blown film process will have higher tensile strength, higher puncture resistance compared to films that come from cast polypropylene. And that's why a good understanding of the different type of packaging material is quite essential for a packaging technologist in order to bring about the right specification, for anything you want to use it for. Now, the different types of plastics, like we mentioned, these are the recycling logos. We have the what we'll be talking about, the polyethylene terephthalate, which is also very popular. Now, we've seen our man from Coke, and we could see what they are doing with the PET. PET It's one of the things amongst the plastic, it has excellent transparency, and that's why it's loved by companies, because the products can be revealed through it. However, as they have the advantages, these plastics also have what? Their disadvantages. PET is not a fantastic moisture barrier, and in terms of oxygen barrier, yeah, it's good compared to other plastics. And one thing about PET also, especially why it's using flexible packaging, is absolutely its dimensional stability. PET is really dimensionally stable compared to HDPE, PVC. So when you run it on your machine, it doesn't elongate, it doesn't get the usual elongation that you may get with other plastics. Then you have your HDPE also. That's the high density polyethylene. The high density polyethylene because because it has a higher density than what we call the LDP. In the polyethylene family, you have the ADP, you have the MDP, you have the LDP. And like I mentioned before, that you have different kind of polymers, because even among in the polyethylene family, you have what we call the LLDPE, that's the linear low density polyethylene, which is a copolymer. Because you have introduced some ethylene. You have introduced you have introduced some what's it now? I'm trying to remember that. So it's a copolymer. So ADP, the molecules are tightly packed, and that's why you say it's highly dense. And because the molecules are highly packed, it also has high level of crystallinity, and that's why ADP are translucent. They are not that transparent, as you would see here. ADP are translucent. But one thing about ADP is that you give to it is that it's good moisture content, it's good moisture barrier. So ADP has a good moisture barrier compared to PET, compared to polypropylene. And then you have number 3, we have the PVC. That's the polyvinyl chloride. That's the polymer we got from vinyl. That's the monomeric unit called the vinyl chloride. However, there is a lot of noise around PVC, and major companies are trying to move away from PVC because of its environmental impact. The issues around the organochlorides and dioxanes, which are said to be carcinogenic. But PVC, one thing you give to PVC is a high level of transparency. PVC is highly transparent, and that's why you see it in wrappers for toys. One of the things you use PVC for also is the shrink wraps. You use it for shrink wraps, but it's going to replace gradually with PETs, even though it's a cheaper material because of that environmental concern. The other one is the LDP, that's a low density polyethylene. One thing, low density polyethylene has a poor moisture barrier, it has a poor oxygen barrier. That's one thing. But one thing you give to LDP is that stretchability, because it's able to stretch. That's good elongation. So you may see it's also used in stretch wraps, and also in materials that needs to stretch. And then you have the polypropylene, another very popular plastic. Polypropylene can come in various forms. You have the attractive polypropylene. We have the oriented polypropylene, and so on and so forth. PP, in terms of in rigid form, in terms of, has a better oxygen barrier compared to HDPE, but it's not a good moisture barrier when compared to HDPE. But one thing about PP is that it has a very good dimensional stability, and that's why you see a lot of closures. You see them manufactured in PP. Then we have polystyrene. Polystyrene is very, very excellent transparency. Excellent transparency. But their issues around is recyclability, and that limiting is used a bit. And then you have others. Others, like I said, there are a lot of plastics. You have polycarbonates, like I mentioned, polyvinyl chloride, polytetrafluoroethylene, ABS, and so you begin to list all the different kind of plastics you have. It's quite a lot. Now, we talk about plastic properties. I don't want to dwell too much because of our time, but when you are developing a specification, for to apply to your process, there are different things you could consider with respect to plastic properties. It could be structural. You have the structural. We have the structural property. We have the performance. We have the barrier. We have the aesthetics, and then we have the cost. So structural in terms of strength, you want to look at sometimes. You look at elongation. You could look at abrasion resistance. You could look at tear resistance. You could look at tensile strength. And even in TRS, when you're talking about tear strength performance, there are different things. Are you interested in tear initiation? Are you interested in tear propagation? And so on. So we have the performance in terms of machinability, sealability, tolerance to usage, barrier, like we mentioned, aesthetics. I don't want to dwell. Cost also, it's also something that we look at because some are expensive and some are not that expensive. For example, when you look at the barrier, like I've mentioned, different plastics, they have different barrier property. You can see, like I think I've explained some of these in my earlier presentation. You can see how they differ from each other. And now, just to talk a bit about this, that I said, when Alaji Omar wrote, he was saying what's their role in sustainable packaging, plastic versus paper. It has always been an interesting discussion. And which one do you think is better, plastic or paper? Let me ask the audience. In terms of sustainability.
Sustainability, paper.
Paper. Yeah. Who again? Any other one?
Paper.
You choose paper. Okay. Good. And that's what I expect. That's what a lot of people, in different forums. But I always take a second look at it, and I'll explain my own approach to it. So, for example, let's look at this. This is a Tetra Pak, right? So it's made from what?
Paper, aluminium, plastic.
Paper, aluminium, plastics. Yeah, right? What is this?
Paperboard.
Paperboard. And what is it? What is this? A sellotape, right? What is this? Paper, right? What is this? Paper bag. Paper pouch. Yeah, I like this moving very fast. So the question is this: is plastic involved in all of this?
Yes.
Yes. And then we say plastic should go, and only paper will be enough, right? So the question is, if you don't use a paper tape here, what other thing are you going to use? Okay, I'm not using the paper tape to seal. What am I going to use? This is a sellotape. If you're not using a sellotape, what do I want to use? If I say I want to use an adhesive, maybe a hot melt adhesive, especially for corrugate. Hot melts are what? Plastics.
You can use clay.
You can use clay.
Yeah.
For this.
You can just machines. You can use.
You can stitch it. It's metal.
You can stitch with metal, right?
Yeah.
So how easy will it be in the factory? At what speed? At what speed?
And if you say food item, it's not
complete. Complete sales.
Yeah.
Teaching, you will have some areas that will be open.
And in a food organization, you only use metal.
Yes, control.
Yeah.
it's not allowed.
Yeah. And then in Tetra Pak, within each layer, we have adhesive, yes or no?
Yes.
And sometimes most adhesives are from what? Plastics. I was at the forum, people said, throw paper, plastics away. If you use paper, they gave us paper. I said, even this paper is coated with what? Plastic. Even this one is sitting there, plastic. So what's my own opinion? So my own opinion is every packaging material has a role to play in sustainable packaging. every packaging material has a role to play. But what do we need to do? We need to look at what? Improving recycling technologies. Because now there are some technologies that are coming up, but they are quite expensive that work with multi-layer materials, especially for PET, alufoil, PE. But the thing also, as we are improving it, we also have to look for affordable and scalable technologies. I think that is what we should look forward to in order to have a sustainable packaging, in order to have sustainable packaging. Because, for example, I usually raise a question. You will say, let's go for paper, right? And every pack material is paper. What happens to our forest? Deforestation. So, yeah, correct. And then if the forest is being depleted, right? And from climate change studies, where the trees are reservoirs for carbon dioxide, which lead to global warming. And so when we deplete the reservoir, what happens to the world? Climate change. And if you say, okay, let's go for trees, then we begin to use our farmland and overuse it. What happens? There's an issue of food security. So there needs to be a balance. You don't just come and say, it's paper, or come and say, it's better. Every packaging material has a role to play. But we need to improve, like the Coca-Cola man, we need to improve collections after use. We need to improve recycling technologies, and we need to ensure that we have affordable and scalable technologies. I think with this, I will end my presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Solomon. We appreciate, these conversations, they don't have an end. Like they normally say, everybody mama soup, they very tasty and sweet. So those that are in plastic will have a debate. They have, even in class, they won't tell you they are the best. So call the man from class, say, let's start. Will come and tell us his own side of the story.
To convince us,
Yeah.
right?
You need to press function and fact, right? It's not good enough. Okay, then I put this before the service. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sylvester Gomresi. I'm here to represent Frigoglass Industries Nigeria Limited and Better Glass PLC. It's a privilege to invite us for this discussion about packaging. And the topic given is on the global trend of glass packaging and also the fundamentals of packaging material as glass is this. So today, a lot has been spoken about packaging, so I don't want to dwell much about what is packaging, but we'll go straight to some of the highlights we need to see. We'll just see a snapshot of the global trend and the production process of glass, as well as factors you need to consider while selecting glass jars or bottles for your as a packaging material. Then finally, we'll touch about circular economy, which a lot have been discussed. So just to add one or two points of what we've heard before today. Thank you. Firstly, who we are. We are glass manufacturers that we support all beverage manufacturers with packaging solutions. And we can say we are one stop shop manufacturing system that in our business, we give you the glass bottles, we give you the crank cork, we give you the crates, and also we give you the refrigerator to make it refresh and you consume it. So it's a total package solution organization we have. As you can see, you must have seen these branded refrigerators in the market, in shops, and the rest. We are number 2 manufacturer in the world. Before we were number 1. And if you have taken Coke before, you have consumed out of our products. If you are a lover of beer, fine. If it is soft Montina, and even if you are taking some other like foods, Bama is our product that we use to package it. We are located in, our factory is located for the glass in 2 regions, one in Ughelli Delta State and another one in Bara. And we have the crate manufacturing embedded in the plants, and we have the crank cork manufacturing in Ijebode, while the chiller assembly plant is in Ibadan. We talk about our glass capacity. We can produce in total 720 tons per day from the 2 facilities, and we have 3 furnaces. We have the capability to run 3 colors simultaneously: flint, which is the transparent you see, the green, and the amber. The amber is the brown bottle you see. We have the 3 furnaces that can run this simultaneously, no issue. And also we can decorate some of the bottles. You saw the Coke bottles the other time. We can decorate them. You want the written on the body Coca-Cola. And the footprint we have is, you can see we operate within Nigeria and West Africa in 17 countries. That is where we trade within. We supply our glass within 17 countries in this Africa region. And you can see we cover a lot of market segments, the beer and malt segment, which take the most major part of the business, the soft drinks, the wine and spirits, the cosmetics, and the foods. We do that as well. So you can see where we have traded in the past. Quickly, this is the kind of machine we use to manufacture the bottles. And these are the market segment I mentioned the other time. You see that some of few bottle samples we just put here that we are produced. So if you are consuming any of these things, you are consuming out of our products. And I believe you love the taste as you are enjoying them. And you can see our blueprints. The top major people we deal with, others are more. We can't put everybody here, but you can see Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was here, AB Bell, Diageo, Heineken, Bell. If you are using deodorant, we're the ones using that bottle, and you're taking some syrup to you, some wine and spirit, intercontinental distillery, Nigerian distillery. GB food is the Bama you consume today, and the best drink too. So we have a lot of certification because you can just do it because you just want to do it. There must be certification in terms of safety, talk of the environment, talk of good manufacturing practices. So we are certified by international bodies, and even also the customer also audits are carried out and we are approved by them. Then talking about the whole thing, I think I love the last conversation. You have to try to recall back what you are producing to recycle. So sustainability is our goal, and we are certified. You can see there, and net zero journey is there at 2050. We are talking of the emission here because we use gas to fire the furnace, so energy is being emitted into the environment. So there is different stages of target. You can see scope 1 and 2, so then scope 3, where we want to go to 90% control of emission by 2050. So these are sustainability goals we have. Also, we are collecting the collects. We are partner to February, and we are partner to Wistecla, and also we have a good water management system in our business. Okay, to the business of the day. Glass. Different school of thought are defined when glass starts existence, so nobody's right. You can see some, they'll tell you it's about 3000 BCE or some, and more than that. The slide is jumping, but I don't know why. So I will just leave it. But it's saying, talking about glass first invented in 15,000 BC and the story. So glass is as old as anything. Nobody can really define when it all started. But the truth is that it has been old as anything. But the global trend today, what are we talking about? There's a lot of arguments, different school of thought, and nobody will win the argument, but by experience, by what we see every day, there is also everybody's attention going to one direction, whether we like it or not. Why? That is why glass is the most preferred packaging item and is growing because of the eco-consciousness of its properties. We'll see the properties of glass later. And most of it is exercise done by FIBA, and there was indication that it's growing, basically in Turkey, Poland, Austria. And also the glass we need to recycle. The recyclability make it more good for everybody to consume. Another thing, though, people perceive it expensive. That is the truth. They perceive, but it is not true. And what we need to do is to encourage the packaging to make it more affordable and more convenient. Coca-Cola man said the other time that people are consuming PET because it's most convenient because of customer preference. On the go, you can take. But also, glass is coming in that direction. Just as he mentioned before, you can remember, if you remember, a bottle of Coke in those days is as heavy as anything. I think it was about 520 grams for the 35 cl, but now it's 290 grams, and it's still the same capacity, just as he mentioned the other time. So innovation has taken place to reduce the weight, because moving from 520 to 290, because every glass you make, it requires energy, gas, firing to melt it. By so doing, what you are emitting a lot. So reducing that proportion, you can know how much of savings of what we of the environmental factor we have done so far. Okay, it's still part of the research did by FIBA, and they said, well, glass is the most growing packaging item today. What was the question? If you look at it from here, they asked the question here that buy less of glass packaging material, food or item, buy less, and buy it about the same, buy it more, or buy it much more. So the survey, it came out this way. You can see buy it much less plus buy it less, it gives 20%. That is B2. Buy it more and buy it much more gives 28%. So it's evidence the growth of glass use. If you go through the line, the plastic we talk about is the almost disliked packaging material for people to buy, because you can see you buy it much less and buy it less is 18 plus 13, 31 give 49%. So people are gradually taking the awareness of not consuming much from foods that are packaged in PET. The awareness is ongoing and is gradually going and is taking ground, because people are health conscious also, because the campaign is there, the environmental degradation is there, so people are keep thinking about it. And sustainability wise, if you look at it also, this is part of it too. And we will talk about it's talking about what people like to do while they are using a glass bottle. They think of the environmental impacts. They think of their health. They think of the food preservation and or conservation, and also the premiumness of how it looks when it's in glass bottle and offer availability. So if you check it, if you look at the color codes, you can see how the percentage are rated. You can see that even health, environmental impact was more for what people consider why they are buying food that are packaged in glass. They consider it more for. So what is the impact it has on the environment? You can see. If you look at health also, health is another major concern there. So those two things also made the highest percentage contribution of why people decide to use packaged food or packaged item in glass bottles. So they think of their health, they think of the environment. That is why they go for it. Food conservation is there. Yes, you need to store your food very well. And it's look premium anytime when you put food in glass bottle or anything you are consuming in glass bottle. It look premium. They offer availability. Yes, people can get it. So you can, this is also the analysis that is going on, and it's proven that glass is one of the best and the most sustainable packaging materials. Then coming to evolution for future thinking, what are people talking about? It's safe and sustainable. So it's seen as the most eco-friendly thing. So about 80% out of that analysis, which is 8 out of 10 people, this is what they said, and they are aligned to that. Yes, glass is safe and sustainable in everything in terms of packaging. Then coming to, we are talking about the manufacturing process, because we are talking about glass since how did glass come to be? When you pick a bottle today, what do you see? You just see a shining something, a hard natural property. You hit it on the oil crack or something, or it look beautiful when we use it to package your product. But things made it to be what it looks as when you see it. And the property, the component that make it to be what you see today, and the major raw materials of glass, you can see. So the glass is made up of sand, and it is made up of soda ash, limestone, sulfate, collet, and some colorant. So the colorant is, why is it looking bright? Why is it looking green? And why is it amber? So you introduce any of them, it changed the color for you. You understand? The sand is naturally sourced, so all of us play with sand. If we pull our shoe today, now we see it there. But also, it's silica sand. It's not just every sand. It's a refined sand that we process, but you get it from the earth, so it's natural. Nothing is added. There's no way you process sand or you manufacture sand by any chemical for the sand to come out. It's where you have to excavate it from under the soil and bring it just to treat it to avoid purity and get the right grains. Then we use it for manufacture. So that's why those shows that when you are consuming anything in glass, it gives you that right natural feeling that you are using original thing. So that what does it do? We could have used only sand to manufacture glass. It's possible. But if we continue like that, it means we will use higher energy to melt the glass. So we have to introduce that. That also will help to break down the temperature, the energy required in melting the glass. Lime salt is to make it stronger, and the sulfate also is help to purify and also add to the solidity. The collect, which is, we are talking about sustainability and recycle content, which is the collet. The collet is the breaking bottles, all the pieces of bottle you see around is called a collet. It contributes a lot. Again, research shows that you can also use OLED collet to manufacture bottles with lower temperature. However, the different color has different level you can do with. So you have to also go with the properties required and the recipe before you use. Like the transparent color, we can go as, if it's available, we can go as 60%. The green and the amber, you can go as 80, 90% if it's available. So availability is an issue there. Then we just want to flow around the soda ash. I talk about it, what it makes, the sand, the silica sand, the soda ash is out of influx and lower melting points. I talked about that. The limestone is to make it stronger. The first part, the collet, I already talked about it. So I think we'll jump there because of space of time. That's the raw material. Then, by the time you put the raw material, they have recipes that you have to put together to make up a batch. So by every of the raw material, they have different proportions that you mix together to go into batching. And the batching process, you mix it, you turn it around for about 30 minutes with different proportion going into the hopper. Then you mix together. Then later it transports to the furnace, that where it is being melted. From the furnace, the melting temperature is minimum is 1570 degrees Celsius. So you can think about boiling water times 15 times to come to that. If after introducing collet, after introducing what is it called, soda, as mentioned the other time. So majorly we use natural gas. It's natural, but also it's flaring. So we use natural gas, but also nothing is stable in Nigeria available as when you need it. So there are other sources of energy we have to introduce when it's not available. We introduce CNG, we introduce LNG. Sometimes we use diesel to fire the furnace. It's not advisable, but if that is what is available, that's at that time. Because the furnace, from the day you would need it, you do not need to put it off because it must work till minimum of 8 years. So you need to keep it alive. If you cool it down, then you are ready to build another one. So you must have to have all sorts of energy to make it sustainable any day, anytime, 24/7. Then after the batching process, it comes to the forming. I'll show a flow chart, you see that it comes to the forming. And the forming, when in the furnace, it melts. After the melting, then it flows to the forming process. The forming is the machines, and the machine will need to have a mold. Our bro said the other time, mentioned the molding. So also the glass has the mold. That is a sample of a mold there. We need to install the mold in these machines. So this machine now is 10 sessions. You say 10 sessions means it has 10 cavity of molds that you need to put through, and they are double. So at a go, if you put the mold in this machine, 20 bottles will come at the same time. You understand? And it has different speed set up for it. So the process go, and we have two process of bottles. The jars, they are press and blow process. Then the hollow glass, they are the blow and blow process. So they have two different processes of manufacturing and a slight difference in terms of the molding. Then after from that breast pot you saw, it's formed as the shape of a bottle. It's good. If you take it out, get cool, it will stand there like a bottle, but it's not annealed. So anything like stone or even your finger hit it like this, it can explode. So it will be, that is exposed to thermal shock. So for it to gradually step down the temperature of the glass bottle, from that we're talking about 1005 something the other time, step down till when it gets cool, you must go through a process of annealing. And through that process of annealing, then also you introduce gas in it. Gradually, you are stepping down the temperature gradually until they move to the other section for the coding and inspection process. So during that process, as it comes out of the layer and it goes through the inspection machines. The inspection machines, we have various inspection machines. You can see them here. Some of them detect the crack in the finish. When you talk about finish, is by the neck. Some of them in the field ball, that is the round neck. When you, let's say you put your hand like that, you feel some. So for technical people who understand it, then also we see a button. Maybe there are some defects at the bottom. The bottle will pass through this machine. It will detect it. Inclusion like something like a bubble or a signal of a sun on the body. It will detect it. It knock it off. So we pass through all the auto inspection process. It doesn't end there. Even though it passes through the auto inspection session, human being will still need to be there, going through, looking at it, sighting at there in case anything escapes from the machine or there's a failure to the machine. You can see one of the man's system there. Then it moves to the decoration, if it is being decorated like the Coca-Cola. So from there, it will go to the decoration lines. But if it's not a plain bottle, not the required decoration, it will come to the packing zone, then it go to the shrink wrap, then off to the markets. So all I explained since this is it. This is a flow chart of what I'm explaining. I talk about the raw material. So the raw material, they are all put in a silo and some proportion they mix together. It goes to the batch, which is the batching. The batching is for proper mixing of all the raw material together at the right proportion. And it transports to the furnace, which is the melting. And the melting, the furnace has three different zones. There's a melting pot, that is where all the raw material first of all goes into. With the temperature and everything, it will get melted to that point. Then it will go to a place called refining. Refining is just like a narrow channel that the glass will flow through. Then it will filter. If anything that is not properly melted, it cannot pass through that end. It will still stay there until the heat melts into the real molten state. Then it will now go to the forehead. The forehead is where it's just like a channel. River is distributing its water to the main sea. You understand? So the forehead is the one leading to the different machines. Because under one furnace like us, we have about five machines under one, 4 machines under one like that. So there's a place like the channel builds, which we call the forehead. So when they leave the forehead, but take note of one thing, as the glass is going, the temperature is dropping gradually. It's moderated to ensure that you have the right forming process. Because if the temperature of this here come here also, the bottle will not be too warm because it will be too light as at that time. So as it's going gradually, it's getting thicker, getting solidified, then we come to the form, to the mold that I mentioned the other time. 2 bottles came out now. You can see from here to here, it go to 1000. Then the bottles go to the hot end treatment. For the hot end treatment, come to there, which is I described to you the other time. You can see the temperature gradually coming down. It comes to the inspection and the packaging, and that is the whole flow chart of glass manufacture. Is it interesting? Yes. So Just look at what a bottle passed through to come out for you. Why won't you make it pure for your packaging? And there's a slogan, good things comes in glass. Okay. Now, why do you choose glass for your packages? Why? Well, we'll see some of the things why you chose it today. Okay, if I may go back, I will not, I have my team here, so I will not ask my team. Madam, why do you, I don't know if you are into packaging, but if you consume anything in glass, what do you consider first? Attraction. Fine. Okay.
Well, attraction too.
Okay. Sir? Two attraction.
Well, for example, like the jar and bottle to beer track.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Anybody can see add more? Not my glass people. I don't want my glass people.
Premiumness, one.
Okay, sir.
It's an embatic seal. So, and then it's one
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So you already go to, you explain my next slide. So this is it. It's sustainable. The taste is there. We should talk about it. Don't react to chemical, nothing is compatible. The design is always beautiful. Glass is always beautiful. And the healthy nature, sure, when you're consuming it, you see through. You know the beauty in it. And let me know, it's the truth. Look at it. All and it's sustainable. When you talk of cost, it's cost effective. People think glass is costly. It is not. People think glass is so expensive. It is not. But not until you get involved, you don't know. So, but if people look at it, it's too expensive. No. Can't do it. It's affordable, and there is a way we can do it to make it affordable. I jumped maybe the products I mentioned the other time. Sorry, I can just go back and just give you a quick story about this product, how we came to be in business. You see this small jar here, okay? I don't know if women here do must have seen it before. Corporate sauce, they're like Cheeto, but they produce in Nigeria here, right? This is a success story that made us to have this business. It was this guy. Today, I am selling over 10 million of this bottle. But this person did not buy up to 100,000.
From Ghana, is it?
No, in Nigeria.
Okay, Chile.
Yes.
Okay.
Point. This is where our journey of food started from. I think before she relocated out of Nigeria, she did buy up to 100,000 pieces from me. But this was a success story how we acquired this market. Today, I'm selling over 10 million bottles for this. So to tell you how that success came, she was packaging this sauce in plastic. So, okay, there were a lot of spillage in the shelf. Or before it will even get to the shelf, everybody of it, is oil, leakage, not looking nice. So she was crying. I think we met somewhere in this an exhibition ground here. An exhibition ground here. That's where we met. So let's have the story. This exhibition, but we do participate in exhibition. So she met us, saw our samples. You produce glass, that's how the story started. Yes. When she heard the story, what do you need? A year, she gave me 6,000 plus. But if I produce this bottle just for a day, it's 200,000. And my minimum run of production is 5 days. So it means 1 million, but it needs 6,000 for a year. Anyway, salesman is always a salesman. We close the deal, we find a way to do it. She bought the first pallet of 1,000 something pieces. So from there, what I produced around, I managed to force my operation team to produce around 400,000. I know very well that she needed 7,000 in a year, but I maneuvered to find 400,000. But we had to make research. The next thing, we started exporting it to Ghana for a Mayo packaging. So because it was sustainable, and no matter what, her business is very small, she came back to give the testimony that since she started packaging the bottle, her volume increased, the margin goes up, and she was pushing some small one to the West African countries then before she relocated. So I think there's beauty in glass. I keep saying it. The argument will not end, but we will keep arguing it until we reach the final conclusion of it. So, as I was saying, the taste is very good. So, taste is very good. It's sustainable. We're talking about the recycle. If you look at that today, even if, let's assume glass is not being properly recycled, you will not see them on the streets. They are under our bed. They are under our bed. They are not in the streets. You understand? So, unlike the plastic that you just drink, you drink. So it's nowhere. So if it's not even recycled today, you will not see them lying everywhere or in the drains we filled up. No. Even if it's in the water, it will sink. No matter, the fishes will not consume it. It will remain there forever until maybe something crack it, the pieces will still be there forever. So that is why it's sustainable. And also it helps the business to reduce the cost of manufacturing. So it's sustainable in all your packaging. So I think those who package in foods, drinks, I think choose glass. We talk about portability. Look at just this, as my brother mentioned, it's inert. It don't emit anything to your food. The taste remain original. I might be wrong. I've given this analysis in Unilag some time ago. If you want to try it, go and buy a Coke package in a bottle today. Buy a PET Coke today. Open the two. Take a little out of it. Just find a way to force the cork of the glass or that bottle. Force it again back and put it in the refrigerator. Close the PET bag, put it in the refrigerator. 4 days, go back, go and taste them. You know what I'm talking about. So that is the basic truth. And if anybody argues, you should go and practice it, you know what I'm talking about. So glass bottle, always retain it for you anytime, any day. There's no argument in it. Design is always beautiful. It's just there's a saying in our glass language. Say furnace, they are like women. They are shining, and you need to protect them because the beautiful thing always come out of them. So glass is always beautiful. You put your product in it, it will radiate, and it gives customer preference. Just as you said the other time, people just jump at it and say, "Oh, this is premium." Taste it is the same. So the design it makes it unique and it attracts customer to your product, and also it position your product globally. If you meet all standards of your packaging of your product, nobody will reject your bottle package product abroad that is not well packaged, because that is a good standard of packaging.
Yes, once you finish.
Then I mentioned that people think it's always expensive. The truth is, glass is not expensive. If a Coca-Cola man is out of this place today, he buys bottle from me every year, right? He's buying PET. So PET is one way say you don't return it back to him. But they are trying to recall back, but not that he can use it directly to repackage his bottle, but just to find a way to recycle it, number one. The recycled content now is just small quantity. Others is just to make the environment safe, they recall them out of the environment. But the glass bottle, he mentioned that they recover over 90% of you heard him that. So by the time, for example, if you buy a bottle from him for 1,000, don't want to go to the range of bottle we sell, how much we sell. If you buy a bottle from me for 1,000, and if he was able to use that bottle 10 times, the average cost comes to what? 100 naira, right? But PET, let's say he's buying PET at 200 naira. It's one way and it's a cost. The problem is two things happen. The consumer is bearing the cost. The consumer is also bearing the other reactions that will come from anything. It's not only drink I'm talking about, anything. The consumer, first of all, you are bearing the cost of the extra cost of the packaging material because he's not going to bear the difference of the 15 naira. He's going to pass it directly to you. That convenience that on the go we are saying you are paying for it, and also, God forbid, if any other thing from other thing happen, you also is an impact that will cost human. So we should not look at it, and it's very well popular. I was thinking here, a lady met us in exhibition here. She saw some of the jars we were using. Yes, so where do you import your gas bottle from? We say we don't import, we produce it. So she said, no, she don't believe it. I said, we produce it. So I told her the whole story. She knelt and crying. Camera captured her that day. She was crying. What happened? Because that bottle they were selling it 52 naira. She was importing it at 580 naira. Yes. Again, awareness is a problem. So she was importing 580 naira. From there, she gave us some leads in Abuja that buy the jars now. Since that time, gradually in a small scale quantity, and they're buying, they're packaging their product, which is good for us and also good for the economy. So glass is rigid, just as we said the other time. It makes your product stand out. The transparency is absolute, so we don't need to talk about it. The perceived quality of it is another thing. It's a very good one, and it helps your branding. It helps your branding, honestly. Anytime they appear in brand, you say, wow, what is this? But if you think it is not, think about this. Is this where we want to be? No, this is not. Everybody see this picture everywhere they go in their street, any neighborhood you go, when it's flooded, you see this. Class will never constitute this at all. But it's left for us to decide. Also, this, look at the fish. What is it eating? The PET, if you don't do anything to it, 700 years. The can, 90 years. It will just be messing up the environment all the time. So we should cultivate the habit of packaging our product in glass. So how to avoid that mess we saw the other time? It comes to the recycle economy. That brought us to what's the kind of innovation that is on ground or business that we can make the environment sustainable by doing recycle business. Now, we said we are using cullet in our business process. But the truth is today, awareness is not there, we don't know, or people are not really there. 2023, we imported glass from China, this cullet from China. Because at the point, we could not have enough to sustain our production sourced locally. Before we moved to China, we have come West Africa, we brought from Cameroon, we brought from Ghana, we brought from Abidjan, we brought from Burkina Faso. At the point, there was not enough to sustain the manufacturing process. We have to import from China. What does that have in the economy? It means we took our hard-earned naira, converted it to dollar, put more pressure on the dollar to bring rubbish. I can call it rubbish because we see it rubbish today, as rubbish in our houses today. So what do I mean here? We need to think of how to be sustainable, meaning we need to practice individual recyclability of everything we consume, not only glass. I have to be straight here, not only glass. By coincidence, I already have it. Anything you do, try to preserve it or recycle it or dispose it in the right way. So the house is not full, but the truth is there is money in recycle business. And today, where the interest is supposed to be, enough of value has not been paid to it, just as he explained the other time. Plastic is still 480 naira per ton, while can is about 1,300. Glass, I think people that are trying to collect the recycle, they are still paying very less for it, which also not encouraging people to go for it. But that's changing now. There are people, there are cyclists that are into the business, trying to collect it, trying to be resold to us at a required price. So what do we need to do? The common challenges about that is when people don't know how to really bring the item together, segregation is a big problem. Because they will, if you ask them, we introduced it some time ago, we introduced bins in some places for people to try to throw, but they are all contaminated. Again, the cost of sorting it is higher than what we want to use it for. You understand? It's difficult. We partnered with Lawman about 8 years ago. We could not get anything. What we are coming with is all contaminated. So why doing it? You understand? Then also some of the logistics is another issue because not everywhere you will have the huge bulk of it that you want to collect from somewhere. So it means people need to be going and be dumping. But it is not, it's really difficult also to really work on that to make everybody to go to one spot because we are not living in the same spot. And that's why we partner, like February, he mentioned that we partner with them. We circular, we partner with them, whom they are doing some work now. Most recently, we are also trying to sponsor some of them with some like logistics issue. We are solving them with them as well. But individual can still do it by making giving the awareness to people in the environs to also, if you have beans, gradually collect it and look for a small land and the rest, be collecting them over time. And when you are known, over time you can be our partner to supply us collect. It's useful to us and we will buy it in the right quantity. So what is required? We need some standard bins. We don't know, government is really not focused on this. Standard bins for people to put this thing in the right place and well defined. We had a campaign also last year trying to put another bin again, putting labels and then put your color there, put your bottles there and everything, even to the staff. Any bottle you have at home, come and dump it where we are designated. So it is good that we have to recycle them, putting all these things together. Again, if you can have a small kiosk that, okay, people just put the awareness for people in your area, they'll be coming and dumping the glass bottle there. It might be useless in their house. Actually, every home, they have bottles. No matter how you say you are dedicated to the recycle policy, they have bottles. Then for it also to be effective, collection and recycling will be effective, we need automated technology for the sorting because the manual sorting also is a big pain because we collect, if they are brought to our factory, we have some machines that we use to do the auto sorting like the metal grass and those ones. But there's no so much of technology now to select the brown from the green automatically right now. So this is the kind of thing that need to be also embedded to make it work. Then also more education. We need to create awareness for people to ensure that imbibe and adhere to recycle policies to make our environment safe and also to improve the economy because by the time you do that, you are making some money and also it's helping our business, as I mentioned, for us to spend naira to dollar to bring collect from outside Nigeria. It's not the right thing. So I think recycle, we need to focus on it. We have to educate people to take it as a serious point. It will help us to improve our economy and also the environment. Thank you.
Area of contamination.
Yes.
Is it a term or you need proper contamination?
When I say contamination, maybe there's a bin here, right? We designate it, okay, this is a clean bottle, this is a green bottle, this is amber bottle. bottles only. They use the word bottles only, but people will throw paper inside or put rubbish inside. You understand? Also, in the homes, so you will tell you the truth. Maybe bottle returning to your home. You see candle melted inside glass bottle. Nothing you can do so much to raise that candle melted inside bottle for him to use it again. You understand? So the awareness need to be created. But how do we do? We really need to partner with the government need to be involved. This one is I told you we partnered with government some time ago, but we didn't get the results. So it's still a long way to go in terms of to recycle products in this country. But all of us, as we are here, the awareness we need to pass the message outside so that we'll be successful. Thank you.
Yes, I have to get like for him. Just have to let's just take one more, and then the other one online will take him to take Razak. Razak will take us through graphic design, and we'll just try and make it short, and then we'll close for the day. Thank you. It's just let us keep him company, since he was able to keep on of us company. This is more of the learning. Yeah, that is not the right one. Oh, sorry. Huh? Give me that tip. No worry, let us use.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Razak Odejayi, founder of Clever Flix Studio. We help individuals and corporates with communication solutions, branding and marketing. So since we've been discussing about packaging and the importance and truth, it doesn't matter how much we can't overemphasize the importance of packaging strategies across the world. Because the better we are at it, better our life and our environment. So I've learned a lot today. There are a lot of times I was hearing for the first time, because there are a lot of experts and professionals here in the production and manufacturing sector. The only thing I know how to package is design. And that's why I've taken us through designing effective product packaging. I like to start off with this quote. Don't design for plants. Design people interacting with the plants. It's a major factor because a lot of people design for themselves. They design what they want to see, what they like. But as in the case, you are trying to look compelling to some people who will give you money for what you're selling. So those are the people you're designing for. So why do we package? Why do we package products? A lot of speakers have spoken about this. So I just want us to mention a few. What are some importance of packaging? Aesthetics. Thank you. Another one.
Protection.
Is
Protection.
Protection. Thank you.
Brand identity.
So it creates our brand identity. So these are some that I came up with. We have protection, of course. Your packaging should be able to protect and save the content inside. The identification. You want to be able to differentiate your product on the shelf from the competition. Then distribution, it is the vessel that helps you to distribute your products across board. Communication, it is a platform where you can communicate the value, the descriptions of your product. Visual appeal, this is very vital. This is like essence of design. So you want to look appealing to your target audience. Then storage. Your packaging should be able to hit storage before distribution. So elements of effective packaging. I'm going to make this session very brief because our time is well spent. Many of the things I'm going to even talk about have been mentioned earlier. So I'll just focus on the design aspects. So number one is visual appeal. You want to make your packaging look appealing and even compelling to the specific people you are trying to sell to, not necessarily everybody. So if you are trying to attract children, you need to put elements that look appealing to the children in your packaging. So it goes beyond that because the appeal part also talks about emotions. So your content should be able to talk to certain emotion you want to convey. So are you trying to say you're a playful brand or a serious brand? Are you trying to communicate premium? All this should be put into consideration. So you need to do that, you need to use informed use of color, typography, shapes, and imagery. These are design elements. You need to apply design principles. We have principle of proximity. The principle of proximity says that elements that are similar should be brought together in a piece of design. Take example, look at the sample I put here. You can see on the face of the design, we have things that are related that particularly the most important information about the product are put together on the front. We have the name, we have the logo, we have what is inside. Because apart from the product name, you want to tell people what is inside. So apart from value chocolate, cake, and muffin mix, because chocolate brands is odd. Hierarchy. Hierarchy is orderliness. You want to arrange your content in terms of their importance. So you don't place what that content can do without at the foremost. So you want to order the content of your design according to their importance. The simplicity, the overall look should look simple. There's a saying that a design is complete when there's nothing else to remove. It's not that what can I add, what more can I add? You need to keep it simple. Then alignment. Alignment is very key in any piece of design. So once you are looking at that design, you should be able to see at first glance that this design is utilizing this particular alignment. And something to use to guide yourself is that the most prominent element in that piece of design will determine the alignment of sub-content. For example, look at this logo. It's staying at the center of the product. And that is why other text and objects are also adopting that center alignment. So if what is most prominent is staying at the side, then other small objects should actually conform with that. That is what will give you a compelling look. We have contrast. Contrast is just saying emphasizing what is most important. So if you are putting a text that you want people to see, you don't want to put a dark color on a dark color. So you want to put a dark color on a lighter color so that it is more conspicuous. We have a repetition. We know you are very good. We know you are creative. So rather than using all the styles, all your skills in one piece of design, you want to limit it. Rather, choose a specific few and repeat them across the design. So we can see some of that here. You know, there's a repetition of typeface. There are thousands, if not millions of typefaces. Why has he chosen just 2 on this piece of design? It's following the principle of repetition. So you repeat certain things, you decide, this is the color I'm going to use, this is the font size I'm going to use, this is the shapes I'm going to use. So you now repeat those things across the design. And we can see that here, repetition of color, repetition of shapes. Functionality is another element to consider. And a lot has been said about it. Packaging should be protect the product and be convenient for use for the end users. Functionality is key. Design is supposed to perform 2 major roles. One is aesthetics, and the other is functionality. They go hand in hand. No matter how good looking your design is, if it doesn't serve the purpose, it is useless. And no matter how the content of your product is, if you cannot give it a befitting look, nobody will check it out. So you need to balance the 2. How do you achieve functionality, create anticipation and delight? You know, think about the unboxing experience for the customer. What are the things they are looking out for? Create anticipation. The unboxing experience should be something memorable and create an interactive design. Look at this. This is a premium product. It's a luxury item. It's a fashion item. The first, because one of our speakers talked about layers of packaging. You have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So this is the primary packaging, and look at the box. So when you open the box, you see another dust wrap, dust bag. So when you open that again, then you see the product. It's a form of premium experience. What is inside is value. So you want to create that. So you think about the value of the product and create an experience around it. We had that, then they gave us this. And this is also about functionality. Listening to your target audience. Getting feedback. Look at what we have to go through. If you don't have a sharp object or a knife, you can't get the contents and look at where we get now. Another thing is brand consistency. Someone mentioned that. You know, reflect the brand identity and values. And I'm happy I'm using Coca-Cola. I'm sure my gentleman is very happy about this. It's interesting, you know, I learned because Coca-Cola, of course, is a leading inspiration when it comes to packaging and production per se. So there is a lot to learn from them. So you can learn a lot about brand consistency from Coca-Cola. You know, look at the set of products and look at the arrangement across the board. You know, they are even the messaging. And when you take a look at a lot of their content, you see that repeated. So you have to outline your brand assets and use them consistently across all your design. The same thing about your message. That's why every brand should have a tone of voice. You must predetermine the tone of voice by which you are going to communicate with your customers. You don't just get there and start talking the way a normal person just talk. You know, there is a certain way your customers want to be addressed. You have to dig in to find out that and use it to the optimum. Sustainability. Everyone has talked about this. Addressing environmental concerns through your product packaging. You know, you want to select the material you want to print on. They need to be eco-friendly. They need to be minimalistic in nature, and they have to be recyclable. Look at this product. If you are producing a product that has an element of nature in it, you will show what it is made of in the packaging. It's a creative way. You know, look at this perfume. It's called Zen and it's made with bamboo. So rather than just draw bamboo on the product and all, they went deeper and create an experience that at first glance you. So if you are someone that like this sugarcane, you will naturally you don't even care, and this is something that can even provide value to you. You will put your money down and buy it. Then information, your packaging materials are there to provide information about your product to the target audience. You know, you need to communicate the product details, descriptions, how to use it, how to store it, and all of that. Highlight essential information, clearly communicate features and benefits. You can also create a sneak peek to the product. You are very confident about your product. You know, you can cut out from the package and showcase to the world. So somebody who sees this now, like, this is how it looks. I can't wait to have a bite. So it's a marketing week. Avoid including false details. So this is some disadvantage of packaging because to the customers, because there are some products that are overly designed and they don't deliver on that appeal. So we have to avoid that because it breaks your brand value. These are typical products. These are the elements. You have your brand logo. You have the product image if you choose to showcase that, the product name. In some cases, your brand logo is the product name, as we have for Gala. The product description will also be there. Then at the back, you have product description, your company details. You know, there are some people that will not buy any product unless they see this. They want to know where it's coming from, especially if it's a new brand. They really want to know. So you need to put your company details, then the barcode. You know, that gentleman differentiate between a barcode and QR code. So you can either choose any. Of course, QR code will take more information, any kind of information than that. Then I put the essential steps into 3 basic steps. Number 1, research and strategy. I'm an advocate of creating a strategy, a plan before action. There is a popular saying that failure to plan is like planning to fail. So you want to create a strategy around your product design beforehand. So you need to forecast the various steps so that you can make informed decision beforehand. So how do you create a strategy? You have to conduct research first. You have to conduct the market research and competitor research to know what is already existing in the market. Because the point is not to create the best per se. Because best is relative, we all know that. But the point is to create a differentiation. It is very important that you create a differentiation. people should be able to say, this is the brand. And how do you differentiate yourself if you don't know what is already existing in the market? So you need to conduct a deep market research to know what is already in the market, the trends and consumer demands. What exactly do these people want? A lot of business fail just because of that factor, because they produce what they think everybody needs, what they think people need, rather than deep into the market and find out what are the gaps that are existing in the market. You need to understand your target audience and their preferences. Already some people know who they want to attract or sell to, but they don't dig deep into how they want to be served. So you want to know what appeals to this target audience. How do they like their product? If you are selling drinks, what is the packaging material they like to have their drinks packaged with? Then you develop a packaging strategy or a packaging design strategy, which is going to focus on specification. Specification in terms of product one. How is your product? What type of products are you producing? That's what will determine the packaging materials. And specification in another area is that what message are you trying to pass across? What emotion are you trying to pass across with your packaging material? The regulations, what are the authorities' demands? We have the various regulations. What are their demands? We want to put that in line. The timelines. What time do you have? The budgets. How much will this cost you? The materials. The materials also depend on the type of product, where it's going to be displayed. Is it something in-house or something that will be displayed under the sun? You want to know so that you know the durability of what you're doing, the layout. You need to determine the layout of that product before you start designing. Don't just get there and design on A4. Something that is going to, you want to connect with the printer and develop a layout before you start designing. All this needs to be put into a record so that by the time you kickstart, you flow, then you design, then you print it. Number two, be creative in your approach. So of course, we have a strategy and you want to put it into action. It's very important that you are creative about it. Don't just go there and design like every other person would design. Think through the product features and use cases. How is the product? How are they going to use it? How is it going to be packed? You can pick out a concept from all of those processes. You can pick out something when you think it through. Develop a unique concepts. Right? If you take a look at this product, it's called munching. And they're selling strawberry. And they created just a very simple label, like a character that's trying to, eat the strawberry. What personal emotions do you want to convey? Do you want to sound playful like this one? It's playful, right? So do you want to sound serious? Are you selling scents or deodorant? For corporate people, you want to select your colors very well that will appeal to people that are corporate. So you need to be creative. And the next slide shows how creative this product was. If your product is manufactured in a certain way, try implementing it into the package. So this one now, they picked out the concept from the way the product was produced. That's what I was talking about. So when you think it through, you can pick your concept from anywhere. These cookies, for example, are baked in an oven. So why not package them in an oven? It's a playful way and approachable take on the standard liquid box. And doesn't this feels, it feels very interesting. So these are packaging, very sustainable material. So you want to test your design by creating prototypes and test with focus groups. So your ideal client or your ideal customers, you have a sample of some of them, typical people that represent your ideal clients. You want to gather them, give them the sample, and get feedback, their honest feedback on what they feel when they interact with your design. So that feedback is what you're going to use to refine until you reach the final product, and you continuously evolve and adapt your packaging to stay competitive in the market. You need to move from good to great. You're already doing good, but good packaging protects your product. While great packaging protects your brand. Having a very strong brand will automatically do the half of the work for you. And how do you do that? You have a brand strategy and you put it to play. You define your colors, your typeface, your messaging, your tone of voice, all the brand assets. You think about how you want to communicate with your target audience and you put them into use consistently across all touch points. Across all touch points. You don't take anything into chances. You don't take anything by guess. You are deliberate at every step of the way. Very deliberate at every little thing, as much as you are capable of. So when people see that you are being deliberate, you are communicating in a certain way, you are communicating through this right channel as well. That is why when you research is very important. You know where your target audience hang out, on which social media are they. You want to know. So when you outline this, it will also help your marketing and helps you to build a stronger brand. Some people today, they are brand evangelists for certain brands. It's not as if the brand is paying them. They are just doing free ambassadorship for the brand. Some people will tell you they can never use Android. They are Apple users. They don't care what Apple produce tomorrow, they will buy it. They have been sold because of that is branding. They have been sold. Why some people will tell you that Android, not even Android is generic. They will say Samsung. They cannot use any other phone from Samsung. So things like that. So you can sell out and people will become brand evangelists for you. They are the one that are telling others about your product. Buy from this person. It doesn't even matter the product that comes out of your business. When you have a strong brand, look at that Coca-Cola, for example. You look at the number of products they have. But as long as it's Coca-Cola, some people will not even think twice and they will buy it because of the strong brand. So this will end it. Thank you.
This is a good place to end it. Honestly. It's good that we put the first for the last. Thank you so much, Razak. We are not done with you yet. We have to revisit this again. What I have seen now is what some of my students are actually looking for, because my students that are taking a diploma program, they are competing with people in the international community. And some of these creativities are not there. It's not because they don't want to do it, but they see, let me put it this way. If you have not seen an aeroplane before and been inside, there is no way they will tell you to sketch vehicles, and it will occur to you that you have to draw what inside of an aircraft look like. So they are showcasing what they have seen around their community. I've seen a packaging before for glass that came from Mexico. It was a glass bottle for a drink called tequila, and it was molded like a revolver pistol. Yeah, because you see, in that place, nobody will tell you that Mexico is rough.
So tequila is a local alcohol in that region. And with the roughness and the cowboy style, then somebody decide, look, let us create what we already know how to do. But our people should look at what do we have traditional. They should be able to look at the corrugated box where you now have a tray like an oven. I mean, this is an award winner because that creativity there, you need to think outside the box. Yes. So thank you so much. We will connect you. I will put you in my student group. We introduce you. Let us see how will be, even from the background of your presentation. Everybody will know that there is trouble ahead. When you see a competition, you don't need anybody to tell you. Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody. Please let us try and bring our friends tomorrow. We'll see continue tomorrow at about 11 o'clock. The ones tomorrow are very, very senior from NIMASA, from Standard Organization, then from Krones. We have 2 people. Then we're going to have a full class. See, the issue is that a lot of people did not know there's something going on here. Everybody is going down there, but this is special because this is more of a training. It's not, we don't do talk shop. A lot of things that they do in the other exhibitions, they are talk shop for me. I like people who come here, the people that are here today. After this, I will issue a certificate, tell them, look, you have, at least for you listening, you have learned something. There are no 2 ways about it. For you to have listened to this and you have copies of this to look through, you will not tell anybody that you have not taken a basic lesson in packaging design. Thank you so much. So let's try and be here tomorrow. Bring your friends. And my brother from Coca-Cola. They make your day. Everybody will talk about Coca-Cola. So it was good. It was like a quick planning. Everybody that was talking about Coca-Cola. So thank you so much. Yeah. It's part of the. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry. I don't know.
No, don't finish.
This one.